Ayan, good afternoon. For the group 7, we're gonna tackle about third rail traction system. Rinig ba ako? Hello? Rinig po ba?
Rinig po, rinig.
Yes po, rinig po.
Okay. Kala ko hindi rinig, walang sumasagot eh. Third rail, also called as live rail, electric rail, or conductor rail, is a method of providing electric power to a railway locomotive or train through a semi-continuous rigid conductor placed alongside or between the rails of a railway track. So mamaya papakita namin kung saan siya banda. Although na-discuss naman din ni Sir Al dati, wala lang, takal lang namin ulit. So, ayan, definition.
Okay, so, ayan nga. On most systems, the conductor rail is placed on the sleeper ends outside the running rails. But in some systems, a central conductor rail is used. Ayan, kita niya. Ito yung gitna, ayan, yung conductor rail. Yung sa gilid. Tapos yung sa gitna, ayun yung bottom line. Yung mga parts niya is, yung steel contact rail. Steel contact rail is the rail that carries power for electric rail cars through the tunnel and is placed parallel to the other two standard rails. Kasi yung next part niya is yung contact rail insulators. What it do is, it is made either of porcelain or fiberglass and are to be installed at each supporting bracket location. The next is the protection board or protective cover, as you can see in the picture. Protection board are placed above the steel contact rail to protect personnel from making direct contact with this rail. These boards are typically made of fiberglass or timber. Tapos yung yung the protection board brackets. Pag di siya nakalagay eh. Ang ginagawa nito is the protection board are mounted on either timber ties or concrete ties base and are used to support the protection board at a distance above the steel contact rail. Siya yung bracket na support sa third rail. Siya yung nagpapahaba dun sa mismong sleeper. Then next is in the third rail insulated anchor arms. What it is located at the midpoint of each long section with a maximum length for any section limited to 1.6 kilometer or 1 mile. That's the end of the report for that definition. Next slide, please. So yeah, yung train collector shoe, yun yung nagko-collect ng ng electricity para mapaandar yung train.
Good afternoon. Rinig po ako.
Mahina, Marian.
Medyo mahina po.
Eto, rinig na. Malinaw na.
Opo.
Okay, so good afternoon, guys. I will be the one to discuss the history of third rail trains. Next slide po. Okay, so the history of third rail train. So dito, maraming nalilito kung ano yung kung magkaparehas ba yung third rail or magkaparehas ba or magkaiba yung overhead wires at saka third rail. So dito, madidiscuss ko lang naman yung pagkakaiba ng dalawa and ano-ano yung mga systems na gumamit ng third rail system and also the overhead power supply. So yung third rail, according to Burbo kanina and Vivian, third rail is yung additional rail na nadadaanan ng mga tren sa ilalim na nagsusupply ng electricity. So typically, it is 600 to 750 volts DC. And third rail, yun nga, galing siya sa bottom, while the overhead wires are sila yung nagsusupply ng electricity from above na galing sa catenary and then connected gamit yung pantograph. Next. Okay, so yun, yung third rail, one of the most oldest form of supplying electricity sa trains, aside from the yung onboard batteries na ginagamit ng mga tren dati. And one of yung pinakaunang tren na gumawa nung nakaisip tsaka gumamit ng third rail is yung Berlin Industrial Exposition, yung first picture natin. So yung Berlin Industrial Exposition, it was set in an exhibition park at Leute Station, and na-create siya as amusement park lang. Amusement park to show some technological advancements. And one of the main attractions there was their first electric locomotive. So yung electric locomotive nila, ginagamit talaga siya sa mga minahan, pero ginamit nilang one of the main attractions dun sa park kasi nagamit nila yung electricity. E nung time na yon na 1879, wala pang ganong na-invent. Sila pa lang yung pinakauna. So yun, as you can see on the picture, meron niyang tatlong small cars, tas kaya niyang magsakay ng 6 na tao sa isang car. And then yung tinatakbuhan niyan is 300-meter circular track. Yan, and in 4 months of exhibition of the train, 90,000 passengers yung naisakay niya. And then next one naman is yung Vaux Electric Railway. Yun nasa second picture. So yung second naman yan yung second electric railway na nagawa ni Magnus Vaux. Pangalawang electric railway siya, but it is the oldest operational electric railway. Yun yung pinaka-oldest operational electric railway kasi alam ko matagal siya nagra-run. Next po. The third one is the Giant's Causeway Tramway, yung pangatlong picture na nasa ilalim. So yung Giant's Causeway Tramway, that is the first long electric tramway in the world. So yaan, third rail talaga siya, but eventually, ginamit na din nila yung overhead wire. And then last one is yung Bestbrook and Newry Tramway. Ito naman, hydroelectrically powered tramway siya na nagtatransport ng passenger and freight between the years 1885 to 1948. Next po. Yan. So yung third rail, simula nung yung pinakaunang, yung Berlin Industrial Exposition, nakilala siya sa buong mundo, and then maraming railway transport system na nag-adapt ng railway. So isa doon sa mga bansa na gumamit ng third rail is yung sa Cleveland and then sa Denver. And then we also have yung doon sa Blackpool, UK. So meron dong station, katabi lang siya ng dagat. And then doon nila nilagay yung riles. But then, nung ginawa nila yon, parang ilang years lang siya nag-operate. Sinara na nila kasi yung dagat, yung tubig dagat, tsaka yung sand na pupunta doon sa may third rail. So, nababasa siya and nadudumihan. Kaya nagkakaroon ng problem sa pagraran ng mga trends. So, yun, dahil doon, hindi na nag-operate yung station na yon. Next po. Yan, and also nagkaroon din tayo ng Paris Petroline 11 and then yung Sapporo Municipal Subway. So itong dalawa na to, third rail din sila pero merong rubber tired railway line. So meaning yung wheels nila merong rubber tires. So yun, same lang din naman sila na third rail yung ginagamit nilang system pero yung mga wheels nila merong rubber. Yun lang. Next. Yan. Tapos yung pinaka-conclusion lang naman dito is third rail systems are not considered obsolete. So kahit sobrang tagal na niya na-invent, hindi naman siya outdated talaga kasi until now may mga systems pa rin na gumagamit niyan. Pero normally, actually, karamihan lalo na yung mga newer systems, ang ina-adapt na nila is yung overhead wires. So overhead wires are a lot less common, though a lot of newer systems use them by default kasi mas okay daw siya kumpara kay third rail. So yun lang, mas pinipili ng mga railway transport na sa taas manggagaling yung electricity kaysa sa baba. Yun lang po. Next.
Okay, guys. So I'm reporting the technical aspect of the third rail. Next slide, please. So the third rail is usually located outside the two running rails. Makita mo yan, side running or bottom running yung tawag sa kanya. Yung side is yung sa mismong side talaga ng riles. Tapos yung bottom running is yung sa gitna ng riles. Yung nakikita niya sa gitna. It's the first picture. But occasionally between them. The electricity is transmitted to the train by means of a sliding shoe, which is held in contact with the rail. On many systems, an insulating cover is provided above the third rail to protect employees working near the track. Sometimes the shoe is designed to contact the side or bottom of the third rail, allowing the protective cover to be mounted directly to its top surface. When the shoe slides on top, it is referred to as top running. When the shoe slides on the bottom, it is not affected by the build-up of snow or leaves. The third rail is an alternative to overhead lines, sinabi nga kanina, that transmit power to trains by means of pantographs, yung overhead lines attached to trains. Whereas overhead wire systems can operate at 25 kilovolts or more using alternating current, the smaller clearance around a live rail imposes a maximum of about 1,200 volts in a Habsburg S-band na rail system, and direct current DC system is used. Trains on some lines or networks use both power supply modes. So, minsan, yung mga train system gumagamit ng parehas na third rail at overhead system o yung catenary lines. So, merong several ways of attaching the stainless steel to the aluminum. Yan kung paano nila nilalagay yan. The oldest is a co-extruded method where the stainless steel is extruded with the aluminum. This method has suffered in isolated cases from delamination, where the stainless steel separates from the aluminum. This is said to have been eliminated in the latest co-extruded rails. A second method is an aluminum core, upon which two stainless steel sections are fitted as a cup and linear welded along the center line of the rail. Because aluminum has a higher coefficient of thermal expansion than steel, the aluminum and steel must be positively locked to provide a good current collection interface. Sa compromise systems naman, yan, next slide please, compromise systems. So yan nga, several systems use third rail for part of the system and other systems such as overhead catenary or diesel power for the remainder. This may exist because of the connection of separately owned railways using different systems. So magkakaiba kasi yung iba't ibang system sa mundo. This may exist because of the connection of yun nga, local ordinances or other historical reasons. On the southern region of British Rail, freight yards were wired with overhead wiring to avoid the hazards of third rail. The locomotives were fitted with a pantograph as well as pickup shoes. So may mga station sila na third rail lang yung ginagamit, tapos mayroong station na yung overhead catenary lang ginagamit. In New York, electric trains that must use the third rail leaving Grand Central Terminal on the former New York, or what's so-called the Central Railroad, switch to overhead lines at Feltham when they need to operate out into the former New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad, the line to Connecticut. The switch is made on the fly, controlled from the engineer's position. Next slide, please. So ito yung highest voltages. Na rin to, na topic din to ni Marian kanina. Yung Hamburg S-band since 1940. Ginamit to ng Third Reich A railway system with 3-meter gauge width was planned. Yan yung ginamit nung Germany sa pagsakop sa iba't ibang bansa ng World War II. Tapos yung next is yung Manchester Bury, England with 1,200 volts din. Side contact naman siya. Tapos yung Toulouse Modane Railway sa France, 1,500 volts. Dito na rin yung yung paglipat ng France from third rail to overhead catenary in 1976. Diyan nagsimula yung TGV na diesel electric. Tapos yung Guangzhou Metro Line 4 and 1 Metro Line 4 and 5 na merong 1,500 volts. That's all. Yan lang po yung report ko.
Hello, good afternoon. So ako yung magre-report na advantage and disadvantages niya. So the first one, advantage of the third rail system is being cost effective against the diesel and steam units o kaya sa overhead wire contact. Kasi yung sa third rail system, may sarili siyang power station, di ba? Kasi dun kumukuha ng electric para mapagana yung sasakyan. Then, yung sa yung sa overhead naman, hindi niya kailangan ng mga infrastructures or mga kung ano-anong wires to provide electricity sa bagon. Then, second one is the natural disasters. Ako pa ako? Wait lang. Ayan, hindi siya masyadong apektado ng natural disasters kasi hindi katulad sa overhead conductivity kasi nga hindi naman siya minsan na sa mga floods or sa tunnels, ganun. Next one is installation for tunnels. Ayun, related siya doon sa natural disasters. So advantage sa kanya kasi wala siyang vertical clearance na hindi katulad sa overhead system, may vertical clearance siya para magawa mo yung system na yon. Fourth one is less maintenance work. Kasi 'di ba yung yung third rail system sa subway, hindi niya kailangan ng erected yung under tension niya. Tsaka hindi din siya prone sa breakage accidents. Kaya parang mas mababa yung maintenance workload niya. Like, ayun. Low voltage system tapos short runs. Next is disadvantages. Hazard, usage of top contact, substation, and high speed. Sa hazards, ayan, sobrang pro niya kasi nga 'di ba? Yung iba nasa katulad kung yung mga third rail natin, kung katulad sa PNR yung settings, sobrang delikado niya kasi kailangan tumawid ng mga tao between the rails, 'di ba? So, there's a tendency na baka ma-disgrasya yung ibang tao tapos open pa yung area. Kasi sobrang high nung voltage nung ginagamit sa third rail system. Next one is the usage of top contact. Tapos yung substation naman, sobrang disadvantage niya kasi parang, ayun yung sabi niya ni Sir Al last lecture na, although cost efficient siya, Kaso kailangan mong maglagay ng maraming substation kasi limited lang yung kilometers or meters na kayang anuhin nung third rail. Fourth is disadvantage siya sa high speeds kasi hindi kayang i-supply nung third rail conductors yung sobrang laking voltage katulad ng mga sa high speed rails. Kasi sa third rail, gumagamit lang tayo ng 1,500 volts ata. Yun lang. So, ayun, makikita nyo naman yung comparison nila sa power system ng overhead catenary tsaka ng third rail system. Mas reliable yung power system ng third rail compared sa overhead tsaka sa maintenance. Then, efficiency. Pero sa safety, parehas silang, same. Kasi may falling of OCS column, then anticipated railing platform emergency tripping switch. Then sa cost, mas mahal yung overhead catenary. Although mas efficient siya sa high speeds kumpara sa third rail. Then aesthetic, ayun. Next one.
Discussing on the countries or cities with third rail electrification system, but this system is usually mixed systems, like using third rail and overhead catenary wire. Some reasons could be may separately owned railways siya, so iba-iba yung may-ari, so iba-ibang electrification system yung ginagamit. Then may mga nag-e-exist na noon, for example yung mga historical railways, so parang pine-preserve na nila yon, so hindi na nila binabago yung sa third rail. And some is the local ordinances or yung mga pinapatupad ng government regarding sa electrification. Next, please. So this is the places or countries na i-discuss: United States of America, UK, continental Europe. Then i-discuss ko rin yung conversion between third rail and overhead or vice versa. Then simultaneous use of third rail with overhead wire. Next. So first, sa New York City. So based naman dyan sa diagram, nilagay ko na kung anong location or stations yung gumagamit ng third rail, then yung gumagamit ng overhead catenary wire. So first, from Grand Central Terminal, yung largest sa city, yung may largest basement sa New York, from Grand Central Terminal, gagamit muna siya ng third rail. Then, going to Pelham. Sa Pelham siya magsi-switch over into catenary wire. Yung pag-switch over is nangyayari habang umaandar yung train. Then, going to New Haven Line. New Haven Line is, parang railway line siya, papunta sa Connecticut. Overhead catenary wire na yung ginagamit, since ang na-search ko kasi is illegal yung paggamit ng third rail sa state of Connecticut. Next, please. So, ayan yung map. Yung red is the New Haven line. Ayan yung gumagamit ng third rail. Kaya, ayan na yung gumagamit ng third rail is iba yung parang iba yung company or yung nagmamay-ari sa line na yan. Yan, owned by a separate railroad. Next. So, diesel exhaust could pose a health hazard in underground station areas. So, since sa underground kasi, di ba, syempre kulog siya. So, mas prefer nila gamitin yung third rail. So, Metro North, Long Island Railroad, and Amtrak use diesel locomotives that can also be electrically powered by third rail. So, dito na yung mixed system. Gumagamit na rin sila ng overhead catenary wire paglabas na, since on open air or non-tunnel trackage, the engines typically run in diesel mode. Kasi hindi siya kasing yung third rail na, as said before, hindi siya kasing powerful unlike sa ibang motive power. Next. In Manhattan, New York City, and in Washington, D.C., and local ordinances required electrified street railways to draw current from a third rail and return the current to a fourth rail. So dito, may fourth rail silang ginagamit para sa pag-return ng current. Sige, next. Another railway line is the Blue Line of Boston's MBTA. So, makikita nyo naman dyan sa map yung from the Baodong to airport, gumagamit sila ng third rail. Then, papunta sa Wonderland is overhead catenary na. Next. Next, sa United Kingdom, merong Eurostar and High Speed 1. So, kasi yung sa United Kingdom, meron silang line na nagko-connect United Kingdom to France. So, makikita nyo naman sa picture. First, sa part ng United Kingdom, specifically sa London, a switch between third rail and overhead collection was performed while running at speed, initially at Continental Junction near Folkestone, dun sa malapit na sa may sea, yung sa papasok pa lang ng United Kingdom. And later on at Folkham Junction after the opening of the first section of the Channel Tunnel Rail Link. Then the second one, yung papunta naman ng, itong isa ay, the dual system caused some problems when drivers forgot to switch between modes. So, ayun lang din, isang disadvantage is yung mga drivers nakakalimutan nilang mag-switch kapag mixed system yung gamit. So, papunta kasi sa United Kingdom, usually third rail yung ginagamit. Then, papunta naman ng France, overhead catenary wire. So, minsan kapag papunta from France, ito kasi yung from France, Eurostar yung ginagamit. Then, from United Kingdom, high speed one. So, papunta ng United Kingdom, minsan, parang nakakalimutan nila i-retract or i-unmount yung overhead. Then, vice versa, ganun din, papuntang France, nakakalimutan i-retract yung collector shoe. Next. Yan. Tapos ito naman yung pag-change din to eh. On November 14, 2007, Eurostar's passenger operations were transferred to St. Pancras Railway Station and maintenance operations to Temple Mills Depot, deprecating the requirement for the 750 DC third rail collection equipment and leading to its removal from the fleet. Since yung Eurostar nga is from France, manggagaling, di ba? Sa France is usually overhead catenary wire. Paglipas ng panahon, so tinanggal na nila yung third rail sa Eurostar, sa train na Eurostar. Then, in 2009, Southeastern began operating domestic services over High Speed 1 from St. Pancras using its new class 395 EMUs. So, ito naman sa High Speed 1 is overhead catenary, third rail pa rin yung ginagamit. Next. Next is the North London Line. So, sa North London Line, usually naman kasi dito is third rail kasi nga sa part siya ng UK. Originally third rail throughout, but a number of technical electrical earthing problems, plus part of the route also being covered already by overhead electric wires provided for electrical haul, freight, and regional Eurostar services led to the change. Since yung sa regional Eurostar services nga yung galing sa France is gumagamit na ng overhead catenary wire. So, mostly ng North London Line. Before, third rail siya, pero na-convert siya into overhead. Next. So, another is the Thames Link. So, ayan, from Farringdon Station, diyan yung changeover ng electrification system. Sa northern region is overhead line, and then sa southern region is the third rail. Next. So, ayan, makikita nyo naman yung naka-circle is the Farringdon. So, yung upper part is the overhead and the lower part stations use third rail. Next. So sa northern city, since na-mention nga kanina, usually sa tunnel, ginagamit yung third rail. So may conversion dito na or switch na nagaganap sa Drayton Park papunta ng Moorgate. Kung titignan nyo sa map, yung lower part. So from Drayton Park, diyan siya mag-change over to third rail papunta ng Moorgate since tunnel na nga yung daan na yun. Pero dun sa upper or sa East Coast Main Line, overhead catenary wire yung ginagamit. Next. So sa continental Europe naman, Netherlands, so meron na Rotterdam Metro and the Snell Tram. Next. So ito yung map. Makikita nyo naman sa gilid yung line A, B, C, D, E. Tapos yung ninote ko na kung ano yung ginagamit nilang electrification system. Kung mapapansin nyo sa map, may mga arrow, overlaying arrow. Yung overlaying arrow na yan is, ayan yung part na gumagamit ng third rail. So mixed system din yung gamit dyan. Next. So sa France, mostly is tramway. The new tramway in Bordeaux uses a novel system with a third rail in the center of the track. So makikita nyo dyan sa picture, yung nasa gitna na rail, ayun yung third rail. Nasa gitna siya nakalagay. Then parang maganda yung system na to called alimentation parcel or APS, meaning current supply via ground. So ang pagkakaintindi ko kasi dito, habang dumadaan yung tram, habang parang nasa ilalim niya yung third rail, doon siya mag-a-activate. Tapos kapag hindi niya na nako-cover yung third rail, automatically parang mag-go off yung system, yung APS. So safe siya kahit nadadaanan siya ng iba't ibang sasakyan and ng mga tao. Since dangerous nga yung third rail, since usually, di ba, live siya. So, mas okay yung gantong system na parang automatically nag-go off siya after dumaan ng tram. Next. So, another example lang is the Angers Tramway. Yan, Rhines Tramway. Then, Colos Modern Railway. Ayan, yung sa Colos Modern Railway naman. From third rail, na-convert na siya into overhead wires. Pero yun sa ibang tramway, yung nasa taas, yung dalawa, is gumagamit pa rin ng APS. Next. So, itong conversion is sinamarize ko na kasi medyo kapag diniscuss pa isa-isa, malilito na. Pero nilagay ko lang naman dito kung ano yung station or yung place, then ano yung conversion, third rail to overhead wire or overhead wire to third rail. Then yung reason. Dun sa isa, yung pangatlo, wala akong na-search na reason eh. So, pwede nyo na lang siyang basahin if may time. Kasi usually naman kasi yan, historical reasons, then local ordinances, yung nabanggit ko na kanina. Next. Ayan, another conversions then. Next, please. So, simultaneous use with overhead wire, pwede ba siyang gamitin? So, obviously, pwede naman siyang gamitin since may mga mixed systems na nga sa ibang lugar. Kaso nga lang, double electrification is usually avoided since yung kanina nga, di ba, from UK to France, may problem na kagad dun. So, parang mas safe talaga kung isang system lang yung gagamitin. This is only done to enable trains that use either system of power to share the same railway line. Since may mga reasons nga kung bakit hindi agad-agad mapapalitan yung third rail into overhead wire. So, kakaroon lang ng double electrification because of those reasons. So, yun lang naman ang report ng group namin. Thank you.
So ayun dagdag ko lang din kasi 'di ba din sa disadvantage niyan nagkaroon ng hazard kasi nga open yung live wires ng third rail. So may isang case sa Chicago sa isang na nag-verdict yung Supreme Court of Illinois against the Chicago Transit Authority ng $1.5 million kasi na hindi nila napigilan yung isang lasing na dumaan dun sa rails na nag-cause ng death dun sa person. Yun lang. So, may questions po ba kayo? Wala na pong questions. Sige, proceed na lang po tayo sa questions namin. Bale, di na namin nilagay sa PowerPoint. Babasahin ko na lang. So, the first question, paunahan na lang First question is, what is the second electric railway that was built by Magnus Volk? Again, what is the second electric railway that was built by Magnus Volk? Ayun, si Jello. Number 2. Second question is, wait lang Where is the third rail located? Question number 2, where is the third rail located? Saan nyo siya makikita? Diniscuss to ni Verbo. Dalawang sagot Ang dami. Oh my God, ano yan? Sa Verbo na magdedeside kung sino nanalo sa inyo. Question number 3. Usually avoided and only done to enable trains that use either system of power to share the same railway line. Ay, taray naman ni Jello. Okay si Jello. Number 4. How much is the verdict of the Supreme Court of Illinois against the Chicago Transit Authority? Sasabi ko lang kanina. Oh, grabe naman. Ayun si Jello. 3 question kay Jello. So, yun lang po. Salamat.